They don't dream too much. They just see too far. INFJ, INFP, INTJ, INTP. Four minds that don't just see the world, they reinterpret it. But something divides them. For some, reality is a garden, to be tended with ideals and meaning. For others, it's an orbital system. Every choice shifts a trajectory. Every decision changes the pattern. And you? Which world do you live in? The one you imagine, or the one that works? Stay till the end. You'll understand why idealism and realism aren't opposites, but two kinds of loyalty, one to vision, the other to truth. Layla, INFJ, age 34. Profession, narrative therapist. In her office, a painting shows a landscape that doesn't exist. It's the world as it should be, she says. Layla lives between intuition and values. An eye reveals patterns no one else sees. Effie feels the collective ache beneath every story. When she listens to a client, she doesn't just hear their words, she sees the possibility behind them. But each time the world fails her expectations, something inside her fractures. INFJ idealism isn't optimism. It's moral duty, a vow to make reality worthy of its vision. But what happens when the world doesn't want to heal? Mirao, INFP, age 38. Profession, freelance illustrator. On her desk, an unfinished drawing, a city suspended between sky and sea. Fi speaks in emotion, NE whispers in metaphors. Mirao doesn't draw things, she draws meanings. Each color carries a value, each shadow a doubt. But when a client says, "Can you make it more commercial?" her inner world cracks. For her, idealism means radical authenticity. She doesn't want to adapt. She wants to express what's real. And yet sometimes she wonders, does inner truth matter more than connection? Theo, INTJ, age 41. Profession, urban architect. On his desk, a flawless model. Streets aligned, structures optimized, flows calculated. Theo doesn't dream. He designs. NI guides him like a map through time. T measures, structures, refines. Every idea must work. Every plan must endure. For him, the world doesn't change just because you wish it to. It changes when you understand how to move it. And yet beneath the precision, there's a quiet wish for someone to see the why behind his logic. Because reason alone doesn't build a world you can live in. Iris, INTP, age 23. Field, philosophy of science. Her notebook is filled with formulas and fragments. For her, to understand is to love. She breaks ideas apart, only to rebuild them cleaner. She analyzes truth like a formula, rewritten every time you think you've solved it. She'd tell you idealism is naive, but when she speaks of the system she dreams to create, her eyes light up like a poet's. And you realize, even her realism has an idealist's heart. Because inside every analyst, there's a hidden visionary. All four are searching for the same thing, a world that makes sense. But they search with different instruments. INFJ and INFP start from within, introspective idealism. They need coherence between the inner and outer world. If reality doesn't reflect their vision, they reshape it or retreat from it. INTJ and INTP start from structure, logical realism. They need consistency, predictability, control. If something doesn't work, they redesign it or dismantle it. Idealism and realism aren't extremes. They're two ways of defending one's truth. And when that truth feels threatened, each type turns to its dominant function, as a shield. INFJ, idealism as a vow. Their mind moves in symbols. NI sees patterns where others see noise. A hidden thread woven through everything. FE gives that vision a voice, shaping empathy, stories, shared meaning. For the INFJ, idealism isn't optimism, it's duty, a moral promise to make the world worthy of what they see. But when reality resists, when the vision feels too distant, they don't just feel disappointment, they feel guilt. Because when you believe in a better world, its failure feels like your own. INFP, idealism as authenticity. Their compass is feeling, quiet, unwavering, absolute. FI burns like a sacred flame, guarding what's real inside. NE drifts beyond the horizon, weaving worlds where that truth can finally breathe. For the INFP, idealism isn't just belief, it's identity. Every emotion carries a principle, every choice, a confession of what matters most. But dreams left untouched by action fade. Without TE, the part that builds and tests, vision remains air, not architecture. And so they live between two hungers, the need to stay pure and the need to make that purity real. INTJ, realism as control over chaos. For them, vision comes first. Silent, precise, inevitable. NI sees the destination long before the road exists. Then TE begins to build structures, systems, timelines that turn vision into architecture. But it's not all logic. FI waits quietly underneath, asking, is this aligned with what matters? The INTJ doesn't cling to control out of arrogance, but out of survival. Their realism isn't cold. It's the only way they know to protect vision from the noise, from disorder, from delay, from collapse. But sometimes, the more they tighten the system, the more it stops breathing. INTP, realism as inner precision. Everything begins with a question, and then another. TI builds quiet frameworks. Seeking a logic so perfect, it doesn't just explain the world, it simplifies it. But NE won't stay still. It stirs the system, adds new pieces, finds new angles. A map with no fixed edges. I grounds it all, in patterns remembered, facts recorded, the safety of what has already been tested. And then, FE awakens. A quiet reminder. Even theories shape people. Even models have consequences. That's when realism shifts, from intellectual design to moral weight. Idealism and realism aren't rival functions. They're two forms of loyalty to one's inner truth. If you've ever felt caught between what should be and what works, pause. Type in the comments, "I've felt this tension," because naming it is the first step to integrating it. Idealism is the light that shows direction. Realism is the path that gets you there. Without one, you're lost. Without the other, you never move. INFJs and INFPs bring vision and meaning. INTJs and INTPs bring structure and clarity. But together, they create balance, a mind that dreams with precision and builds with soul. The world doesn't need less idealism. It needs idealists who can build, and realists who remember why they build. So, which side are you on? And which part of you have you stopped listening to? If this spoke to something in you, like, share, and subscribe. And if a part of you felt seen, write it below. Because the next episode dives right into that conflict. The paradox of autonomy, when needing becomes a taboo. Episode 17, Beyond Intuition series. Thanks for watching. See you on the next episode.